It would look like early polling, and this was theoretical polling when nobody was in yet, basically, would say that Crockett is above Tallarico. He has no name ID. Nobody knows his name outside of the people who watch the Will Cain show and know him as a noted liar and hypocrite. However, nobody really knows who's prepared to go to the voting booth.
And I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket.
Nobody really knows who's prepared to go to the voting booth, but they do know Jasmine Crockett because of moments like this.
I know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
This ridiculous tyrant is trying to do everything that he can to break our democracy.
It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard.
Timo Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States.
Now, Vinny, I mentioned that she polls preliminarily above Tallarico.
Sure.
But she polls behind all the Republicans, including Wesley Hunt, Ken Paxton, and John Cornyn.
Yeah, and I think what you just played there is one of the most important things in this campaign, is that she's done all the hard work. There are hours and hours and hours of video of her saying crazy things. So you talked about, how do we attack a woman? How do we attack a black woman? You don't. You let her do it in her own words. And she's really done all the hard work.
Well, I think that challenge you said, how do you attack a black woman, is a challenge for James Tallarico.
Yeah.
He's got a real problem on his hands because he can't alienate the progressive base that he would need to then turn out for a general election. But it would be a neat trick. It wouldn't be a neat trick. It would be a surprising, shocking, and horrific twist that Crockett could actually become a United States senator. But you got to have your hat in the ring to win the fight.
And she's going to go after him right away. It'll be negative to begin and all the way to the end.
Talking about Tallarico.
Absolutely.
Going after Tallarico.
Yep.
Yes, U.S. Senate candidate, ghetto Democrat Jasmine really screw up by making her campaign launch video Donald Trump calling her low IQ on repeat while she's ugly stares into the camera. Trump won Texas by 14 points. I don't know if this lady actually even realized this. Now struggling to go over there, making everything about Trump is a mistake. A lot of people started like this and end up failing. We have already seen that Trump is going to destroy this lady in Texas completely. So maybe this is her ending her own career by herself. I have a couple of clips. I'm going to show you what she actually said and how people are reacting to her decision to run. Very important. If you love what I'm doing here, subscribe, share the video, and check if your notification is on.
1 second, but just staying on this Senate race, because it really could determine the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. Jasmine Crockett is very openly considering running. Is that part of why you decided to not run anymore?
Yeah, of course it is. And I think, listen, Jasmine's a friend of mine, and we've served together. And I've known her since before we were both, in elected office. But it was about the fact that with, 3 strong candidates running, that we would certainly have a runoff. And I felt that was not, in the interest of the folks who had, come up to me, tell me their stories, who would open themselves up. And in many ways, to me, I've always thought about this and try to take my ego, out of how I approach public service. That I'm trying to, I ran for Congress, as you know, Dana, in the district where I was born and raised, against a Republican who'd been there for 22 years. Nobody thought I could win that one. And I ran for Senate to represent the state that's given me a chance to do all the things that I've done, from playing in the NFL, just being a civil rights lawyer, to serving in Congress. And so this is a continuation of my attempt to try and put people first, and now continue to serve my community just in a different way.
Can you tell me about the conversation that you had with your friend Jasmine Crockett, how that went down and how you made the decision to let her take the wheel? I assume that's the way that you view this.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that I view it that way.
Yes, at a certain point, this is actually a good news for Republicans. This guy was bullied by Jasmine. He loved the race. That is to tell you how this black race is. Because when I look at this, how on earth can this man do this? Jasmine blowing you out of the race. When you take a look at these polls, you can clearly see Jasmine is their favorite at this point. Like I said, it is a good news for Republicans because there is no way Jasmine can even have that chance to win. We all know that. Doing a campaign video featuring Trump all through is something I never saw coming.
At the end of the 2026 election, and Democrats have come up one seat short in their bid for the Senate majority, we may well look at this day, Monday, December 8th, as the day that they doomed themselves. And I'll explain why. So we got word late Sunday via the Dallas Morning News that controversial Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is expected to run for the Senate seat currently held by John Cornyn. The filing deadline, the deadline to decide what race you're running in, is at 6 p.m. in Texas today. Crockett is expected to make her official announcement, either run for re-election in her House seat or run for the Senate by 4:30 p.m. Here's the problem if you're Democrats. This is a seat. Now, it's Texas, but this is a seat that in theory you could win. Republicans have a very crowded primary. We'll see. It'll be a test. I mean, if Jasmine Crockett winds up as a Democratic nominee, I will tell you that political wisdom would suggest she's not going to win a general election. Stranger things have happened, like 2 terms of Donald Trump. So it's not impossible, but I would say we could well look back as if Democrats make a run at the Senate majority and they have the people in place in theory to start doing that. We may look back at this day, assuming Jasmine Crockett announces that she is running in the Senate race, look back on this day and say, this is the day where that opportunity in Texas got a little less appealing. And if Crockett is the nominee, I don't know that National Democrats spend any money in Texas. Whereas I think if Talrico is a nominee against, say, Paxton, then I think they would spend money. So this could be a tough day for Senate Democrats' chances of retaking that majority.
When you look at this, you can clearly see the panic in these people. They are panicking at this point. There is something Jasmine actually thought. She thought that, she has that state appeal, like a lot of people love her. This is actually the time for people to realize that it is not like that. The Democrat establishment at this point, they are not in good mood. This is a Democrat. I believe you've seen what he said on this video. And nothing but the truth. Jasmine cannot win. That is just a fact.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett just announced that she is running for the United States Senate in the great state of Texas. And there's a lot of chatter out there about how she's going to doom the Democratic Party. And as I ponder this, I'm thinking to myself, in 36 years, a Democrat has not won the great state of Texas to go and serve in the United States Senate. So how is it that the run of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for that seat is somehow any different than any other people who have tried and failed over those 36 years? I wonder, does it have anything to do with race? We're going to tell radical truth, radical love, and radical care. So the Congresswoman has announced. And so how progressives look at her particular run is important. For those of us that believe that democracy should reign supreme, if you are a progressive, you should take it as such. That yes, she, as well as anybody else, has a right to run for this seat. Period.
They try to act like, oh, political violence, it's the Democrats and it's the liberals. And it's like, actually, I mean, I'm not going to say that like a left-leaning person cannot be violent, because that would be like crazy to say that somebody can't be. But baby, y'all got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys. You got the...
You can call me crazy. I don't see anywhere Jasmine can win. She has been too controversial. There are just a lot of things, a lot of videos that are out there. I don't know. When I look at it, I'm just like, Democrat should rethink.
I think my message is very much a mainstream message. I don't know who disagrees with the fact that affordability is a real thing, except for the president, who says it's a Democratic hoax. But when somebody goes to the grocery store nowadays, whether it's in East Texas or whether it's right here in Dallas, Texas, or whether it's in Austin or West.
Right now, many people wonder why I jumped in this race so late, and I just want to be clear that this was never my intention. This was never about me. I never put myself into any of the polls. Listen, my question was, which congressional seat would I be running for? And for Texas 30, I love you, Texas 30.
Ain't never been who is willing to go toe-to-toe against the president. I can't wrap my head around someone who votes Republican. She advocate for feeding kids, they protect folks touching them. Trump invading his own country with an army, what a joke. Never scared, now look who name on the docket. Got 2 words for every racist bigot, Jasmine Crockett. Me, I hope my money goes to side that isn't trying to say afford.
Are you ready to go? All right, Texas.
Come see Columbus, Ohio. Fraud